Mike, you guys have obviously had a couple of really good results. Atlanta's coming in, a team that they had that stretch where they didn't give up a goal, I think, in 5 games. This may be the most difficult of the three with the quality they've had, even though they lost recently.
Yeah, number one possession team in the league. Five straight, was it 5 straight shutouts
Yeah.
and wins? An unfortunate one in New York for them. A team that poses a lot of challenges with the quality that they have. It is a bit of a new system compared to last year, but it's to us more organized defensively and explosive, on transition. Yeah, I'd say it's our most difficult game.
When a team is that dialed in defensively and not giving up any chances, do you have to be really on point with your passing to try and break them down? Because I assume they're very difficult to break down in that regard. They don't make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. They have quality players, they have experienced players, and our possession is the starting point. But our ability to shift them and find gaps, and at times be more intelligent with we're still discussing it, maybe even sitting off a little bit to allow them to come out and allow them to open up a little bit. All these little game plans that we're talking about and figuring out how to break down a team that's going to come in and have possession and then get organized defensively and make it difficult for us.
If you had a choice between Atlanta last year under Martino and Atlanta this year, what fits your style of play better? Does it matter?
I mean, I would. There's not one I would prefer more than the other because they're both equally quality sides. I mean, Almiron is incredibly talented, but Martinez came in and he's just as talented. But I would say that the game last year here, which was probably my fifth or sixth game no, not last year, 2 years ago. That was my fifth or sixth game in. They were explosive, and they were opened up for us to counter them at that point, but they also did a good job in the counter press then. Whereas this year, they're still going to counter press. They're still going to be aggressive, but they do get much more organized defensively. So it's a coin flip which one I would want.
How big of a key will your defense be against Atlanta?
Yeah, pretty big. I mean, they score goals. They have a lot of talent, but it's no different than any other game as far as we always have to play, try to play good defense and give them no gaps to play in, be in lines, be in tune with each other, play off of each other, communicate, all that stuff, no matter who we play.
I think the view most of the public had of them in the past was that they were going to attack, and score goals. I mean, you could go out of there with a 2-0 loss and think, we defended pretty well, but they were so good. But it seems different this year. This 6 games, they've outscored their opponents 8-1. It seems a little more defensive-minded, and I didn't know if that was just the way the games have evolved and you hit the frame and it changes things, if they're as explosive.
I wouldn't say they're a defensive team at all. I would say, you said it, they're a bit more defensive organized this year, and perhaps I'm not there on a week-to-week basis from preseason. I've seen obviously a handful of games from them. Perhaps it is just the Almiron effect, and while Pity Martinez gets more acclimated, but they're still a pretty explosive team and a pretty good, very good, one of the best attacking teams in the league. So, yeah, like you said, 8 goals in 6 games, only letting one up. And the one up, I think, in New York was because they were a man up, and I feel that they said, all right, this is our game to have, and maybe they, in transition, kind of took their foot off the pedal, and it was a brilliant goal, absolutely brilliant goal that New York scored. But, yeah, we're going to have to, like I said, really limit them as much as we can, especially in transition. And then also, like I said before, it's a cliche to say take our opportunities, but how do we take our opportunities in a well-organized defensive team, which is moving them side to side, looking for those gaps, and once we get behind them, having numbers committed to get into that box to get on the end of something.
Would you say that you guys are better than your record suggests right now, or are you pretty much right there?
That's not for me to. I mean, I don't sit back with my staff and say, well, here's our record. Oh, you think we're better than that? That's for you guys to write about and for fans to talk about. It's not a question for me.
This is a difficult stretch here with 3 games, 9 days, and you're going to have to fly back east for a couple of them. Have you got the depth to kind of map that out? I mean, and that will require a couple guys getting healthy to have that depth.
Oh, it's mapped out already. It's mapped out with, obviously, it's not in concrete because anything could happen this Friday, but we have a pretty good plan, and we're pretty comfortable with who we have over the next 3 games, with some guys coming back as well. But at the end of the day, we'll be tested. The two games to start with this Friday, it's a very difficult game, even though we're at home. But you look at the two games that we're going on the East Coast to play, very difficult games, especially not overlooking the first one. They're both very difficult, but Red Bull Arena is a very tough place to play in against that team. So we've mapped it out to the best that we could with the understanding it's not concrete. We have an idea, rotation of certain players, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to after each game, seeing the health status, the workload, how we're feeling, and take it from there.
The ability to finish those chances in the first half hour last week, when sometimes if teams don't get what they want, they sit deep. I guess if they get the goal, they tend to sit back anyway. How important that is to change the flow of the game?
Yeah, I mean, teams that come in here since last year, even the year before, but really last year, they come in and they look to win the game. They look to get a goal early, put pressure early, and then it's a sit-back game, which makes it very difficult for any team in the world to break down. So, of course, the managing of the first 15 minutes against Atlanta this Friday is going to be key for us, and that could mean, that we approach it the way we have, which is being aggressive, but it also could mean there could be a call for and a chance for us being, more disciplined, a little deeper, until the game starts opening up. Still things that we're working on in training, we're discussing, and we're still watching video and trying to figure out which is the best route.
I saw Kyle out there today. How's he progressing?
Yeah, he got some actual playing in training today. It was maybe a quarter of the training, if that, and he feels good. And now it's, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a strength and conditioning coach. It's relying on my staff to give me the right intel and to do what's best for not only Kyle but the team.
Kyle was out running laps around the field after the game on Saturday. Is that a choice that he makes on his own, or is that something that's asked of him?
Oh, that's asked of him, but if it wasn't asked of him, he'd still be doing that. Yeah. But we have protocol. Guys who don't get the certain minutes, we have to keep them, as fit as we can for when they're called on. But Kyle would be out there in an instance without being asked.
What about Brooks? Brooks was with him running those laps. Was that voluntary? Was that
No. So we have a protocol. Like I said, we have a protocol that players who don't play at all or a certain amount of minutes, they're required to do some strength, running after. So again, Brooks is someone as well that would have been out there on his own.
How does it work for you going back to New York? They love you. They love to ride you. I mean, by the 70th minute, it probably doesn't matter. But warm-ups or out there, at the anthem and that. Do you hear people in the crowd hollering at you?
Well, it's my first time going back there to play, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, my first time going back there to play. So, it would have been much different if it was the first year I was here and it was very fresh. But, I'm going to be looking forward. I have over 100 people coming to the game, and we're getting together after the game. A lot of the supporters there I knew from my days playing and coaching. So, a couple of players there that I had. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a good moment, but there's no any cliche you want to throw out, getting back at a team or, a tear in my eye or something. No, it's another game at a place that I'm familiar with.
After the last 2 weeks, what are you expecting to see from Sam going forward?
After the last 2 weeks, his runs that he keeps doing to stretch out defenders, continuing to push him in his work rate defensively, and his nose for goal, which has got him, about 4 goals now. I think 4 goals now. So it's just about continuing, if he's called upon, to acclimate him to the team and him get on the same page as guys like Dami, like Albert, like Sava, like Bofo, with his runs and timing of things. So it's just still a work in progress. But Sam's contributed so far, and I feel he's going to contribute a lot more in the future.
We've obviously seen that Corey's named to the 40-man provisional roster. You have conversations with their staff on an ongoing basis, have a pretty good idea of, how it might go for him going forward?
I have had many communications with Greg Berhalter, none since this roster has been announced. I'm sure there will be coming shortly once the 23-man is named, which I'm hoping for Corey that he's on that. And I think that if I'm guessing, he will be a part of that. He's earned that. But yeah, then there's conversations to be had, but there hasn't been any since the initial roster has been named.
How is Sam integrated with the culture that you're trying to build for this team?
How has he been integrating?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've said it many times. Players coming over from different countries, from different cultures, from a different style. Uh, it takes a while. I've dealt with players in my old job and in my 2 years here that there is a grace period, and the quicker that you get him up to speed, the better it is for him, as well as the team. And Sam is still a work in progress. He understands more now than he did the first day he got here, and I'm assuming next month he'll understand more than today. And again, it's just a work in progress, communicating, not just from me, but from the other players that he plays with. All that, the little intricacies. That's the word. All the little intricacies that go around that.
Is him missing the last game and then some of the public comments that he's made over the past few weeks, is that part of that grace period, just kind of learning to be with the guys and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I guess you could say so. Absolutely. I mean, there were things that he recognizes that weren't the right route to go. Good conversations with him, and then you move on. And it's one checked off that, okay, this is what's expected.